Good evening and thank you for joining me on Black News Tonight. I'm Marc Lamont Hill. Topping the news tonight, the 3 white men convicted in the murder of Ahmaud Arbery will spend the rest of their lives behind bars. Travis and Greg McMichael both received life without the possibility of parole, plus 20 more years. William Roddy Bryan getting life with the possibility of parole. All 3 men were found guilty of Arbery's murder back in November. Arbery's mother rejected a federal plea deal that would have sentenced the men to 30 years in federal prison. She asked the judge for the maximum penalty.
My prayer was to get justice for Ahmaud. He fought for us in the courts. He gave us a fair judge. Judge Walmsley, he heard the testimonies from each witness. He gave us a very good verdict, and he gave us a very good sentence. Right. I knew that we would come out with a victory. Yes. I never doubted it. That's right. And I knew that today would come. When it would come, I didn't know, but I know today would finally come.
The men also face federal hate crime charges, which they have maintained their innocence of. The federal trial is scheduled to begin February 7th. In more breaking news tonight, civil rights champion and Harvard law professor Lani Guinier has passed away at 71. Harvard made the announcement earlier today. Guinier had an amazing career. She served as the Bennett Bosky Professor of Law Emerita at Harvard Law School, where she was actually the first woman of color to be granted tenure. She also served as a special assistant in the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division during the Carter administration, and she worked for the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, leading the Voting Rights Project. Her cause of death has not been released yet. When we think about Lani Guinier, we think about a pioneer. Over the last few years, we've begun to talk about critical race theory in ways that many of us, including certainly Lani Guinier, probably never, ever anticipated. But you can't talk about legal writings on race, legal writings on inequality. You can't talk about scholarship and not talk about Lani Guinier. She was a pioneer. She was a trailblazer, a professor at University of Pennsylvania for 10 years, then becomes the first woman of color to be tenured at Harvard Law School. That says something, but some people get in the door and then close it behind her. Instead, Lani Guinier was consistently committed to opening up space for other people, not just at the university, but around the world. Her work on voting was key to helping think about how underrepresented groups, and not just black folk, although certainly black folk, but other groups, Democrats in Alabama, religious fundamentalists, people who might not even agree with her. She was committed to making sure that they got representation in the voting booth. She was committed to making sure that higher education was fair to people of color and to women and to other folk. She was committed to making sure that everybody had a seat at the table, but also that we question the table itself, the system and structure itself. And when they came for Lani Guinier, when Bill Clinton withdrew his support for her for Assistant Attorney General of Civil Rights, when the senators, when those white men around the table, Democrat and Republican, came for Lani Guinier, not enough was done. She was not defended. Bill Clinton retreated, just like he did with Sister Soldier, just like we've seen so many other black women thrown under the bus. Lani Guinier was one of those people. But she never was bitter. She continued to fight until the day she passed away. She continued to struggle. She continued to write. She continued to think. She continued to tell the truth about this country. And for that, she is a hero. She is a pioneer. She is a legend. And we pray that she rests in perfect peace. In other sad news, legendary actor, director, and activist Sidney Poitier has passed away. The American Bahamian iconic performer died in his Los Angeles home on Thursday at the age of 94. Mr. Poitier made history as the first black person to win an Academy Award for Best Actor, establishing an unapologetically black presence in Hollywood cinema. He paved the way for every generation after him. His extensive career as an actor included 55 films. He advocated on screen and off screen as a humanitarian, shining light on racial issues the most notable films that we know about him for are probably To Serve with Love or In the Heat of the Night, and of course, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Poitier would receive several Golden Globes and Emmy nominations. He had an extraordinary career that culminated with an honorary award in the 2002 Oscars for his, quote, remarkable accomplishments as an artist and as a human being. Here to talk about his life and the impact of his career on decades of black artists is Dr. Marc Anthony Neal. He's professor of African and African American Studies at Duke University. Marc, welcome to the show. Good to see you as always. Sidney Poitier was the first black person to win a Best Actor Oscar. Talk to me about his legacy and what he's leaving behind.
The immense body of work is the first thing that you can't forget. He began his film career, in the 1950s, but he also worked on the stage. He also did Broadway. And when we think about, his apex of his career in the 1960s, where he carried the burden of representation, right? He was the black person in Hollywood that represented, quote unquote, the best of the race. And it colored the way that he would take certain kinds of roles because he always wanted to make sure that the roles that he presented were respectful. And what was so important about Poitier is that even though he's carrying this burden, he did so in the way that made his film successful. You mentioned In the Heat of the Night, To Serve with Love, also Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which were all released in 1967 and were some of the highest grossing films in 1967. The doors that he opens, first, obviously as an actor, in 1969, he joins with Paul Newman and Barbra Streisand, and they start their own production company called First Artists, which allowed, artists themselves to have more creative control over their films. And one of the things he does with First Artists is that he produces the film and directs the film, his first directorial opportunity with Buck and the Preacher, which is basically a black Western starring himself and his longtime best friend, Harry Belafonte, right? So this was someone who broke incredible ground, opened the door, kept it wide open, and really was a model, not just for folks in Hollywood, but as I said on Twitter earlier, I'm 56 years old, and there's never been a time in my life when I didn't look to the impact of Sidney Poitier as a blueprint for how I carried myself in the world.
One of the things that made Sidney Poitier so special was not just his artistry and that representation that you talk about, but also his commitment to using his platform to highlight racial and social injustice more broadly, from the roles he chose, to be sure, but also his humanitarian work. I mean, you talk about the gross of his films, and you're talking about one of the biggest stars in the world, and you could put Harry Belafonte right next to him. I mean, there was a time where Harry Belafonte may have been the most popular artist, pop artist, in the country, not just black pop artists, but the most popular artists in the country. And these two men at that time were flying to deliver $70,000 in cash for our, so that the march could continue. They were donating to the March on Washington. They were putting themselves on the line as freedom fighters, not just as artists. What does that mean?
Tom Brokaw a few years ago wrote a book called The Greatest Generation. And I've always felt that when we looked at the generation of black entertainers and activists in the 50s and the 60s, they were, in fact, America's greatest generation. So that when you look at Belafonte, when you look at, the late Sidney Poitier, when you look at Nina Simone, Ossie Davis, Ruby Dee, all these folks who were committed to obviously a politics of representation to make sure that they represented the best of us on screen and stage and in a recording studio, but the way that they understood their need to, the responsibility to give back to these movements. Some of this obviously was financial support. Money that they raised themselves, money that they raised amongst their Hollywood friends, but also being present in the way that the movement needed to have them present, so that folks in the front lines knew that they had these powerful and influential and visible people who had their back and who were willing to sacrifice their careers. As it was the case with someone like Nina Simone or Dick Gregory, were willing to sacrifice their careers for their support of what they thought were right and just political movements.
Absolutely. Sidney Poitier had so many powerful films. The Defiant Ones is one that comes to mind for some. For me, it's To Serve with Love. I always love a good school movie. And long before there was a Lean on Me or a Dangerous Minds, there was a To Serve with Love. So for me, that's the one that resonates. What's your favorite?
It's a film called For the Love of Ivy. Also a film that he produced, with his own film company that featured Abby Lincoln, and it played Abby Lincoln, who was domestic in the household. The head of the household was ironically Carol O'Connor, who simply soon becomes Archie Bunker. And he's like this kind of middle class man who has a hustle, and it's about their connection. The film is extraordinary, one, because you get to see Abby Lincoln on screen, for such a long time. And it's a film that goes away from the kind of formula that we saw in Sidney Poitier films. It's also amazing because it features all this amazing black art, that's in Poitier's character's house. So that's amongst my film. And this is probably bad form these days, but my favorite Sidney Poitier films are, in fact, those trilogy of films that he did for black audiences in the 1970s. Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again, and A Piece of the Action. He showed that there was an opportunity to represent black folks in the midst of the blaxploitation era, but not having to make blaxploitation films. And he got all of his friends to be involved. So James Earl Jones in A Piece of the Action, Harry Belafonte in Uptown Saturday Night, Flip Wilson in Uptown Saturday Night. These were extraordinary films that I don't think America pays enough attention to, but black America absolutely loved.
Absolutely. Marc, always good to see you, man. Thank you so much for joining the show and lending your brilliant insights on the passing of the legend, Sidney Poitier. Everybody, be sure to join the conversation. We want to hear from you. So make sure you head over to our BNC Instagram and Twitter pages to let us know how you feel. Also, visit our website, bnc.tv, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to check out clips from the show.